Hi, I'm Vanessa Conlin, Master of Wine and Head of Wine for Wine Access. And today I'm tasting the 2019 Domaine de Triennes Rosé from Provence as part of the Discover France Wine Folly set that I collaborated on with my friend in wine, Madeleine Paquette of Wine Folly. So, Provence Rosé, the most loved and reproduced in terms of style type of rosé around the world. This is a type of wine that you can enjoy poolside, but is actually extremely food friendly, and we'll talk about pairings later in the video. But first, let's taste the wine, and then we'll dig a bit more into the region, the winemaking, pairings, and the producer. So first thing to notice, this beautiful sort of pale salmon color. This is a color that producers of rosé around the world from other regions try very, very hard to mimic. Sort of a beautiful, enticing color. On the nose, it's got this really enticing perfume of strawberries, raspberries. There's a rose petal note to it, kind of a white peach, like a fresh cut white peach note to it as well. And on the palate, try this with me, but please remember to really swish the wine around so it touches every corner of your palate. It's such a pretty wine. It has a very bright acidity, but it's not a cutting acidity. It just sort of wakes up my palate. It really makes me think of things that I want to pair it with. In terms of flavors, I'm getting, again, this sort of strawberry, raspberry, that white peach note to it as well. There's a definite cantaloupe, like a fresh cut melon note on the palate as well, but very light-bodied, refreshing, actually quite a long finish for what is not an overly complex wine, but a very enjoyable wine. And so where are we? We're in the south of France. So Provence, beautiful Mediterranean climate. It's warm. There's not a lot of rain. They don't have a lot of risks in the vineyard other than some fungal disease or this crazy wind called the Mistral. The Mistral you will find blowing through the south of France. This is no joke, but it keeps the vineyards nice and cool, which balances out that beautiful southern France sunny ripeness. So this is a rosé. This is made in what's called the direct press method, meaning these red grapes are harvested. It's basically pressed as soon as it comes into the winery. So the wine just picks up a slight amount of color. Now, in rosé winemaking, one can leave the wine in contact with the skins longer than that, in which case you would get a deeper color. There's also a type of rosé winemaking called saignée, in which the juice is actually bled off of a tank of red wine. Saignée means to bleed, in which case you would have not only your rosé that you're producing, but your tank of red wine would be more concentrated. Now, fun fact, there's only one region in France where one can actually blend red and white wine to make a rosé, and that's, of course, Champagne. But this has barely picked up just that little hint of color. You're really not getting tannin on this wine. It's basically fermented exactly the way a white wine would be produced. This producer is quite well known in terms of other holdings in Burgundy. It's the mastermind of two legends in Burgundy, Aubert de Volaine, the co-owner of Domaine de la Romanée-Conti, and Jacques Seyss of Domaine du Jacques. So talking about pedigree behind this wine, this must be what they drink at the end of a long day in Burgundy when they just want to relax. Pairing wise, honestly, it doesn't need food. You could just drink this on your patio. But something I love to pair rosé with is Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving is a notoriously difficult meal to pair because there are so many different types of flavors on the table. You've got sweet, savory, bitter, salty, umami, and you've got everyone who wants to bring their own dishes and everything has to be served at once. Rosé is a great pairing. It makes people happy. The color is just pretty, but also can really sort of bridge the gap among all those different flavors on the table. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you'd like to stick with the next tasting, we are moving to Burgundy. We are going to be tasting the La Pierre Dorée Pinot Noir from Burgundy.